Alright YouTube, back at it again on the Silverado. This time, some mysterious fluid coating everything underneath the truck. And yeah, it's just in this wheel well area. It's kind of hard to, I mean, you can really see it here. Alright, and it's on almost like everything in here. Okay, all the way back actually to this part back here. Not the brake line. All right, check that out. And I don't see anything. Oh, zoom out a little bit here. There's nothing abnormal about the brake line. And like the front here, there's nothing coated on it. It's all behind. So I believe it's these grungy looking shocks of mine. And that's what we're going to tackle today. I've got some new Monroe shocks in from Rock Auto. And we're going to give them a shot. Pretty straightforward process. The only thing that really needs to be removed is up here on top. There are 3 bolts down here. We've got this piece here that has to be removed. We'll get that out. Bolt under here and one up on top. And we'll change it out. It's also giving a weird creaking sound, for lack of a better word. Especially when I turn left. So, I don't know. I really don't have any idea. Other than to try to change it out and see what we see. So for starters today, get up here on top. Here, come in from the top and remove those 3 bolts there. Now this does have a leveling kit on it, so you may have to do some adjusting there. I can't remember off the top of my head how I did that leveling kit, but I know that there was some sawing involved. So we'll see. Alright, so we have those 3 nuts off of there, 18 millimeter, and you might need a breaker bar for them, so be ready for that. Or if you can get an impact past the wiring harness here, maybe that's an option too. So now we go down below, and we're going to unhook that guy. Alright, I don't actually know what it's called, but that's what we're going to take off next. Alright, so something I figured I would include in this, you do have to put 15 mil on top, and then I use the old impact, put a 15 on the bottom down here, and loosen it up that way. You can't just crank on one of them, you got to crank on both of them. Alright, so one part, I think I skipped ahead here and wasn't even thinking. I went underneath there, there's 2 bolts holding the bottom of the shock on. I got them removed. So I forgot that I actually broke one of these bolts when I changed the leveling kit years ago. So I had a 14 on there, but they both should be 15 if it's still factory. And then there's these little clips on top. Well, back in the day when I did this, I snapped that dude off so it doesn't clip anymore. And I actually put an aftermarket bolt on here. As you can see, it's held up nicely. So, anywho, the new kit, or the new shocks actually from Monroe, come with the replacements. So, that's nice of them. So the next thing we're going to do is get this out of here. We're going to have to probably pry down a little bit to get this into a position where we can actually slide it out. But it should go down through that opening, and then that will free it up here, get those bolts free, and then it will come right out. Alright, so we're going to go about this a slightly different method. So I think because of my spacer up there, I don't have the normal clearance you guys might if you have a stock suspension. So instead what I'm going to do is take off the upper A-arm, which shouldn't be too bad. It's just a bolt underneath here. So if you watch my video on changing those upper control arms, same kind of process. Basically, I'm just lifting this up to relieve some pressure off of that. And yeah, I'm going to take that off and then lower this back down. And that should give me about as much play as I'm going to get out of this dude. Alright, so that was the secret. So if you got a lift on this dude, or leveling kit or whatever, that's the old spacer there. I should say old, it's the spacer. But anyway, yeah, once this came off the upper control arm, basically this was able to come free. And from here, you just shake that dude out of there. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Just like that. Whoop, there you go. And then it'll come back right up out the top. I am not going to do that because one-handed, that dude's heavy. So anyway, there's a spacer. I got to take that off and put it on the new one. And then I realized what it needed to be cut before. So if you've got a leveling kit on your truck already, maybe you didn't do it. It took me a second to remember, but these need to be flush right here. So if you look down the side there, that's how it connects on. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to cut those level, which it is what it is. Just a little bit more work for tonight. So anyway, we'll get that done and we'll get the new one in and should be good to go there. All right, well, got the new one in. Looks very pretty. One thing I will note is there's actually a gap here where there's a, if you don't have the spacer, one thing I'll tell you is you need to face these shocks a certain way. With the spacer, they only fit this way. But from the factory, if you got the factory suspension on it and everything, there is a certain way it's supposed to go. And you'll see the end of the coil, and it should face outward. And that's the way on a factory suspension it should go. But with the leveling kit, this is the way it goes on. That's the way the kit was designed to, I don't know, engineers or whatever did their thing and said this is how it should go. So anywho, I'm bolt this up here. We've also got this piece I got to get back in. If you're curious about how all that works, there's another video that talks about these upper control arms and how to replace them and all that good stuff. It'll go into details. If you're just using a stock suspension, of course you didn't have to do any of that stuff. It would have had enough clearance to pop out of there, no problem. So anywho, thanks for watching. I still got one more side to do, and yep, should be good to go. Thanks again.